My greedy sister demanded I sell my late father's house and split the money, sneering, "You don't even have kids. Why do you need a home?" When I refused, she secretly put it on the market behind my back. Her smirk disappeared when the realtor announced, "Actually, this property has already been transferred to a charity in her father's name." I'm 46. I don't have kids. I never got married. It's not that I didn't want a family, it just didn't work out that way. I work a steady office job in Asheville, North Carolina, and I've lived a pretty quiet life. I pay my bills, help my neighbors, and try not to cause problems. I was really close with my dad. He passed away 2 years ago after a long battle with cancer. He was 79. That man raised me on his own after our mom left. I was 12 when she disappeared. My sister, Jenna, was 16 at the time. We didn't hear from our mother again after that. My dad stepped up in ways I didn't even understand until I got older. He cooked, cleaned, worked 2 jobs, and still made time to ask how my day went. He was solid. Quiet, but solid. My sister, Jenna, well, she was always a little different. She was good at charming people, smiled a lot, always knew how to get what she wanted. And she wanted out of that house the second she turned 18. She barely looked back. Moved to California, married rich, divorced richer, had 2 kids, and made sure everyone on Facebook knew she was living the dream. Meanwhile, I stayed. Dad was getting older, and someone had to be around. I didn't do it for money or out of guilt. I did it because he was my dad. He raised me. That house, the one he bought in the 70s for peanuts, became our home again. I fixed it up when things broke. I cooked for him when he got too tired to stand at the stove. I took him to his doctor appointments, every single one. The last 2 years were hard. Watching a strong man fade like that is brutal. After he passed, I took a week off work to handle the funeral and get my head straight. Jenna flew in, stayed at a hotel, and showed up to the funeral with her teenage kids and her latest boyfriend. I don't remember his name. She cried like she was auditioning for a movie. Then, 2 days later, she brought up the house. "So what's the plan with the property?" she asked over brunch like she was talking about selling an old couch. I said, "There is no plan yet." "You're not keeping it, are you?" she said, laughing. "I mean, no offense, but you don't even have kids. What do you need a whole house for?" I stared at her. "It's not just a house. It was Dad's home. And now it's real estate," she said, sipping her overpriced mimosa. "I already checked Zillow. The market's hot here. We could easily walk away with $400K each, probably more." Yes, it's half mine." "No, it's not." She blinked. "Excuse me? Dad left the house to me. It's in the will. You got the investment account and the vacation property in Florida. We talked about this when he got sick." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "I thought that was temporary," she said slowly. "I thought we'd liquidate everything and split it down the middle." "Why would you think that?" "That's not what Dad wanted." She stood up, tossed her napkin down, and said, "You're being selfish. He's gone. This is just dirt and walls now. You don't need it. You don't even have anyone to leave it to." I didn't say much after that. I just let her leave. I thought she'd cool off. Maybe forget about it. She didn't. A month later, I noticed a sign in the front yard while pulling into the driveway after work. "For sale, by appointment only." I thought it was a mistake. Maybe it was for a neighbor's property? But no, it had my address on it. I called the number. "Hi, yes, I live at this address," I said. "Why is there a for sale sign on my lawn?" The woman on the other end was polite but confused. "We were contacted by a Ms. Jenna Wallace," she said. "She told us the property was going on the market. We were under the impression it had been inherited jointly." "She lied," I said flatly. "That house is mine. Fully. She has no right to sell it." "Can you provide documentation?" "Yes." "Okay. We'll freeze everything on our end immediately." But if I may ask, there was an interesting twist. The title transfer shows something else. I stopped breathing for a second. "What do you mean?" "The property, it was transferred last week. Not to a buyer. To a foundation. In your father's name." I sat down on the porch step. My legs went weak. What? Yep. The Samuel Wallace Home Fund. It's registered with the state. Charity designation. Mission is to preserve and maintain housing for elder veterans. I smiled. Really smiled. First time in weeks. I see, I said. Thank you for letting me know. See, what Jenna didn't know. Because she never read the revised will or came to any of Dad's legal meetings, is that a month before he died, Dad asked me to do one last thing. He said, if Jenna gives you hell over the house, I want you to donate it. Give it to someone who deserves it. Not her. She didn't lift a finger. So I set up the paperwork. Created a small nonprofit in his name. Filed all the state documents. Got legal help. I plan to live in the house and use part of it as an office for the charity. Help old vets get housing. Dad was one. He cared about them. It felt right. Jenna came storming up to the house the next day. She must have talked to the realtor. You gave it away? She shrieked. To some damn charity? No. Dad did. You liar. You tried to sell it behind my back, Jenna. I'm family. No. You're a vulture. She stood there shaking. Her boyfriend, same guy from the funeral, was in the car, pretending to be on the phone. I hope you rot in that dusty old place, she said before stomping off. I haven't heard from her since. The sign's gone. The papers are locked in. The charity's real. And next month, we're welcoming our first veteran tenant. I fixed up the guest room myself. Dad would have loved that. Things got quiet for a while after Jenna's meltdown in the driveway. I thought maybe that was the end of it. But of course, it wasn't. With her, it never is. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. Not from Jenna. This was from a lawyer in Charlotte. It was a formal notice. Jenna was filing a petition to challenge the property transfer. She was claiming mental incapacity on our father's part. Said he was not of sound mind when he signed over the deed and updated the will. Claimed I coerced him. I stood in my kitchen holding that letter, hands shaking. The nerve of her. She was never around. Never once went to a doctor's appointment. Never saw him cry from the pain. But now she was claiming he didn't know what he was doing? I called the lawyer Dad and I had worked with Mr. Gleason. He was already on top of it. She doesn't have a case, he said. Your father was evaluated by a physician the same week he signed the final paperwork. We even have it on video. He was clear, aware, and specific about what he wanted. Then why go through all this? I asked. Because she's hoping you'll fold. People like her think lawsuits scare everyone. I didn't fold. But the stress started building. Between work, handling the charity paperwork, and prepping the house for the new tenant, I was barely sleeping. Every time my phone buzzed, I expected more nonsense. And Jenna kept up her campaign. She started calling mutual friends, telling them I stole her inheritance. She even messaged one of Dad's old army buddies on Facebook to fish for dirt. The final straw was when she sent CPS, yes, Child Protective Services, to my property. Some anonymous report claiming unsafe conditions for minors. I don't even have kids. The woman from CPS was embarrassed just being there. We had a laugh over it, but inside, I was burning. That night, I sat at Dad's old desk, pulled out the box of letters he'd written over the years, and read a few. One stood out. It was dated 3 years before he died. Addressed to me. In it, he wrote, "If Jenna ever turns on you, don't fight her on her level. You've always been the stronger one, even when she got all the attention. Just remember who you are. You're not just my daughter, you're my anchor. Let her drift. You hold fast." I kept that letter next to my bed from then on. Things escalated after that. Her lawyer started pushing for depositions. I had to give a statement, dig up paperwork, hand over old emails. They even tried to pull my medical records for some reason. Meanwhile, the first tenant, Mr. Alvarez, an 81-year-old Korean war vet, moved into the guest wing. Quiet guy. Sweet. Called me Miss Ellie, like I was 90 years old. He fixed the garden and insisted on baking cornbread every Sunday. One morning, I came outside and found the tires on my car slashed. Not punctured, slashed. Deep, Angry cuts. I filed a police report. I had no proof it was Jenna or someone she sent, but come on. Who else? Then came the twist I didn't expect. Her ex-husband, Greg, called me out of nowhere. We hadn't spoken in years. He sounded tense. I know I probably shouldn't be calling, he said, but I heard about the mess with the house. Jenna's not going to stop. She's broke. What? She blew through her last settlement. Gambled a lot of it away. She's desperate. That explained everything. This wasn't about nostalgia or fairness, it was survival. She needed money. Fast. She's trying to take a loan out against the outcome of the lawsuit, Greg added. That's why she's dragging this out. If she gets a settlement or you cave, she can pay it back. If not, well, she's screwed. I thanked him. He didn't owe me anything. But that call changed how I saw everything. Jenna wasn't just being greedy. She was drowning. And part of me, a small, stupid part, felt sorry for her. Then she crossed a new line. One afternoon, I came home from work and found Mr. Alvarez sitting outside, shaken. Someone had come by asking questions, he said. A man. Slick, loud. Wanted to know who lived here, what kind of deal he got on rent, whether there was money involved. That was enough. I called my lawyer and asked him to file a harassment injunction. We gathered statements. Security camera footage. I wasn't just going to defend anymore. I was going to hit back. I went public with the charity. Local news did a story about the Samuel Wallace Home Fund. We got donations. Volunteers. Even some vets from Dad's old unit reached out. Suddenly, this wasn't just a house. It was a mission. And people were watching. That's when Jenna made her next move. She called me. For the first time in months. Ellie, she said, voice calm, sugary sweet. We should talk. What do you want? A compromise. I'm not selling the house. No, she said. Something else. Maybe we split the charity? You take the house, I take the donations. We can both walk away happy. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You want to profit off a fund meant for homeless veterans? I mean, don't be dramatic. You're not a martyr. You're just sitting on a gold mine pretending to be a saint. You really don't get it, do you? I deserve something, she snapped. I'm blood. So was Dad. You didn't show up for him either. She hung up. It's been quiet since then. Too quiet. And I know her. She's not done. But neither am I. 2 weeks passed, and just when I started thinking Jenna might finally be backing off, I got another blow, this time from the IRS. They flagged the charity for an audit. A random one, they said. Except there's nothing random about that timing. When I asked the agent politely if someone had referred us for review, she couldn't confirm or deny it. But she added something that made it crystal clear. You'd be surprised how often audits are triggered after anonymous complaints. I knew it was her. That was her style, nasty, petty, but quiet enough not to leave fingerprints. It meant hours of digging through receipts, organizing files, calling donors, verifying every penny spent. The IRS agent, Ms. Halprin, was professional and patient, but it still rattled me. I started second-guessing everything. What if I missed a form? What if I messed up some tax code? Then came the kicker. Ms. Halprin left her card after one of her visits. Mr. Alvarez saw it and recognized the name. She's the niece of Darlene Halprin, he said. From the church. Jenna used to date her son. I froze. You sure? Positive. I did some digging. Darlene was a big name in a nearby real estate circle. A broker, semi-retired now, but her son had taken over the family business. And guess what? He specialized in flipping inherited properties. That's when I realized Jenna wasn't just scrambling. She had a plan. Or thought she did. She figured she could bully me with legal threats, stall me with audits, and eventually wear me down until I had no choice but to give in. Then her real estate pals could sweep in, handle the property, and cut her a check. I was done playing nice. I hired a private investigator. Not a shady guy in a trench coat, just a professional. Quiet, thorough. I wanted a clean slate, and I wanted leverage. And oh boy, he found it. Turns out Jenna had borrowed against her kids' college funds. Twice. Her ex-husband had no idea. She had also tried to set up a shell charity in California years ago, same type of setup I had going now, but never filed the taxes. The whole thing was under investigation for fraud. She was on thin ice, legally and financially. Then came a big twist I never saw coming. One of Jenna's sons, Max, messaged me. He's 18 now. Just started college in Tennessee. "Aunt Ellie," he wrote, "I know Mom's been saying stuff about you, but I don't believe her. Dad told me some of what's going on. I just want you to know. I think what you're doing for the vets is awesome. Grandpa would be proud." I sat there staring at that message for a long time. Because Max was a kid when Jenna left for California. He barely knew our dad. But now, somehow, he saw through her lies. I asked if he was okay. He said he was. Said he didn't want to be part of her mess. He even offered to write a statement if I needed it in court. I didn't ask him to. But that meant more than I can explain. The court date finally came. Jenna walked in like she owned the place, heels too high, dress too tight, flanked by her lawyer. I came with mine. Quiet, calm, prepared. The judge listened to both sides. Jenna tried to make it sound like I manipulated a dying man. That I cut her out of jealousy. But my lawyer presented documents, video, letters, medical notes. And then he dropped the bomb. "We have evidence the plaintiff attempted to interfere with IRS processing and made repeated fraudulent claims to various government offices." Her lawyer stammered. Jenna paled. The judge didn't issue a ruling that day. Said he needed time. But I already knew which way the wind was blowing. Outside the courthouse, Jenna tried one last shot. "You think you've won? You've made me look bad in front of my own kids. You did that all by yourself." She stepped closer. "You'll be alone forever in that house." "No," I said, "I won't." Because she didn't know we were bringing in 2 more veterans next month. Or that a local church had offered to host a fundraiser. Or that I'd been asked to speak on a panel about housing for seniors. The house was full of life. And purpose. And it was mine. She turned and walked away. Didn't look back. But something tells me it's not the last I've seen of her. Not yet. A few weeks after court, the ruling came in. The judge sided with me. The will stood. The house stayed with the charity. Jenna's petition was denied. Her claims about Dad's mental state were called without merit and unsupported by credible evidence. The audit was dismissed. And her attempts to interfere with government offices were officially documented. She lost. But the fallout was just beginning. Jenna's lawyer dropped her the same day. Apparently, she hadn't paid a chunk of her legal fees. That, plus her growing debt, finally caught up. Her ex-husband Greg sued for full custody of their younger son, and he won. Her oldest, Max, went completely no contact. She tried to contact him through Instagram and email, but he ignored her. He even blocked her number. She posted a long, pathetic rant online about being betrayed by blood, about how some people just want to see you fall when you're trying to rise. No one took her side. She had burned every bridge she walked over. And then, her biggest punishment, her little friends in real estate pulled out of her life. Word got around about the court case and the audit. About the fraud in California. Suddenly, she wasn't a valuable partner anymore. She was a liability. Her fall was slow, but it was deep. But here's the twist I didn't expect. I made mistakes too. The more the house grew, 3 tenants now, a community garden, even a small therapy dog program, I started feeling proud. Maybe too proud. I started thinking I saved it all. That I was some kind of hero. Until one day, I found a letter I hadn't read before. It was wedged inside one of Dad's old notebooks. In it, he wrote, "If Ellie ever feels like she has to fight the world alone, tell her this: kindness is strength." But pride, even when it feels like justice, can make you just as blind as anger. It hit me hard. Because I had been angry. And it felt good. Watching Jenna fall? It felt righteous. But I realized I was carrying that anger into everything, snapping at volunteers when they messed up, getting paranoid about donations, treating my own team like I had to protect the house from everyone. I sat down in the garden and cried. It was the first time I really let myself feel the weight of everything. Not just the court or Jenna or the lies, but the grief. I missed Dad. I missed having a family, even if it was messy. And I missed being soft. I had let my pain turn into armor. So I made a change. I hired a real manager for the charity, a retired vet who'd run programs before. I stepped back a little. I started attending grief counseling. I wrote a long letter to Max, telling him how proud his grandfather would have been of him. I even sent a short one to Jenna. Not to forgive her, not to forget, but to say this: you chose your path. I chose mine. We don't owe each other anything anymore. Goodbye. She never responded. I didn't expect her to. Months passed. The house turned into something Dad would have been proud of. And one night, after dinner with the residents, we had a small fire pit out back. Mr. Alvarez handed me a glass of sweet tea and said, "You know, your dad used to sit out here and talk about stars. Said he hoped this place would always feel like home." It does. Now here's the part that some people won't like. I'm not glad Jenna suffered. But I'm glad she didn't win. She underestimated what love looks like when it's quiet. When it's built over years of showing up, not just sharing blood. And me? I made my mistakes. I let anger steer the wheel too long. But I learned. I grew. I turned my rage into roots. And now this house stands. Not because I defended it, but because I finally understood what Dad meant. Let her drift. You hold fast. And I did.